Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy and we're diving into another ultimate build guide video. It sounds so ridiculous, but let's go ahead and talk about Rampage today. Rampage, you guys know I'm a jungle main, so I'm definitely going to be covering jungle picks mostly for now. I might branch out, but Rampage is what I think is probably the best jungler in the game. Now, Chimera, Kallari, very, very close as well. Depends on team comp, but in general, Rampage is like a jungler, man. This guy is crazy. Another one a lot like Chimera, very much so made for the jungle. He's listed as a fighter. His roles are jungle. He's like durability, a little bit of basics. But let's go ahead and get into the kit. So, Rampage, there's a beauty to this kit, man. I love it. King of the Jungle, the passive. Rampage gains 20% attack speed and 0.35% maximum health regeneration while in the jungle. The health regeneration is 4 times stronger out of combat. So he regens a lot being in the jungle. This is why he is a jungler. His basic attack's the basic attack. You have his right click, which is pounce, leap forward before slamming down the ground, dealing X amount of damage. And this also scales off his health by 10%. Physical damage to nearby enemies. The leap can be canceled early by basic attacking. Behemoth range increases by 65%. Behemoth is going to be the way that the move is modified when using ultimate ability. We're going to get to that. All right, his Q ability is Boulder Throw. Primary ability, rip a boulder from the earth and carry it for up to 5 seconds. Rampage can throw the boulder, dealing X amount of damage plus 80% of his physical scaling, magic damage to all enemies in its path, stunning them for 1.6 seconds up to 2 seconds. Shatters on contact with enemy heroes. Behemoth is, with the Behemoth ultimate, you throw the boulder instantly. Rumble, second ability, his E ability, pound the ground with each fist, dealing X amount plus 60% physical scaling, physical damage over 2 hits to nearby enemies, and slowing them by 20% for 1.25 seconds. And when you are Behemoth, the cooldown is decreased by 50%. I haven't read the cooldowns, but you know they're pretty linearly, like they just go down. So not really much to like pay too much attention to that. We're going to talk about what you max here a little bit in a bit. Behemoth is become enraged, growing in size and altering Rampage's abilities for 8, 9, and 10 seconds. During this time, he gains 200, 350, and 500 maximum health. While Behemoth is active, Rampage gains the effects of King of the Jungle, and its health regeneration is multiplied by a factor of 4 times. So when you turn on Behemoth, you gain your attack speed, which scales off your maximum health, and then you gain your attack speed, and then you have your maximum health regeneration, which scales off your maximum health, and then you have your the health regeneration is 4 times stronger out of combat. So you get all this passive, right? Whenever you're in Behemoth, and then of course you can have your E cooldown is in 50%, your rock boulder throw is instant, and your range of your pounce is increased by 65%. So crazy stuff. This kit is really, really fun. It's got a lot of health and health regeneration, scaling off maximum health for health regeneration, scaling with your pounce for a little bit extra damage off your health, which is an interesting decision. And then, yeah, a little bit of physical scaling. So let's go ahead and dive into the practice area. We're going to talk about builds and a little bit about the playstyle for this character. All right, here we are in the practice area, and we are ready to select our crest. I'm going to go ahead and say I think the Titan's crest is the best crest for Rampage, and of which the Titan's crest items are all very, very good. So let's give a quick little overview of the items. All right, I know the minion's responding. Relax. Sapphire's mantle is 200 flat health, 75 base health regen, 10 magic armor, 5 physical armor. Gain 20% additional health for 6 seconds during this time. Dealing damage slows enemies by 15% for 1 second on a 90-second cooldown. And then you have the 40 extra damage to minions. You have Razorback, 150 health, 50 base health regen, 8 magic armor, 15 physical armor. Reflect 50% of damage received from an enemy heroes as true damage for 4 seconds on a 90-second cooldown. And then you have Near War Boots, which is 175 health, 75 base health regen, 8 magic armor, 8 physical armor. Gain 30% movement speed and store 45% of damage received for 5 seconds. After the duration, regenerate health equal to the damage stored over 3 seconds on a 120-second cooldown. I'm going to tell you now, I love to take Near War Boots, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, but all of these options are so good. I think in a competitive setting, Sapphire's Mantle may end up being the one that gets the most usage because it's the one that has really easy value. You press the button, you guarantee value. If you turn on Razorback, you need them to hit you. They can counterplay that a little bit, and Near War Boots has a little bit of margin for error because it's health regen, so you may pop it and still die. So you have to kind of use that at the right time, but we're going to talk about that as we're going to take this, and then we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, all right, here we are. Let's talk itemization. and abilities and things of that nature. So first and foremost, when you are jungling Rampage, I used to start with the short sword because I wanted to increase my jungle clear. I don't do that anymore. I go straight into Fire Blossom. So I start Rampage jungle with the Vitality Beads for an extra 100 health. I do my clear. I try to make my first back around 850 gold if I can make it that long, if I don't get killed, if I don't, get into too many scrappy fights. And then the first thing I'm buying is my Brimstone. Brimstone, this is the middle component of the Fire Blossom, and Brimstone is 150 health, 200 mana, deals 20 magic damage per second to all nearby enemies, increased by 50% against monsters. So it's increased damage against jungle monsters specifically. This item is so good because it's like a tank item because it's health and mana, and it's building into a tank item, but it's your damage option. You don't need to build Overlord, which I hate this item, by the way. I think it's terrible. You don't need to build that. You don't need to build it at all. You don't need to build anything off a short sword. You can go straight into your Brimstone. This is your damage item, and then you eventually go back when you can afford it and full build Fire Blossom. Leviathan is unfortunately just a little bit too nerfed, so we don't really build this on Rampage anymore, although it does have great health regen and can stack a lot of health. It's unfortunately just not what we want anymore, and I miss the ability haste off of it, but yeah, it is what it is. So we go Fire Blossom. Fire Blossom is a great item. Let's go ahead and review this one. 225 health, 200 mana, 40 physical armor. So it's a great physical armor starting item, of which you mostly want physical armor in this game unless they have a very heavy magic power team, but they usually don't, and that can change in the future, so just keep that in mind. But for now, Fire Blossom is a great start. Now you can go in so many directions with Rampage. But what I want to do, and what I want to remind you of, is his passive, which gives him the 4 times health regeneration out of combat, which gives him health regeneration that scales off of, 0.35% of his maximum health. You want health regen items on this character. So what do we want? We want a Raiment of Renewal. Raiment of Renewal, let's go ahead and look at it. Top end, 600 health. It's a lot of health. 150 base health regen, great health regen. 200 mana, 15 ability haste, and then it has Regenerator. Regenerate 10% of the damage taken over 5 seconds. Synthesis, increase all healing received by 20%. So you are going to be healing a lot with this. And again, remember, you heal more based off your maximum health. You heal more out of combat in the jungle. It's all very, very good situation for you. So this is like the core Rampage build right here, in my mind. I will almost always go into Tainted Guard next. But if you do have an enemy team that is heavy magic or power, or say like the mid lane Countess is getting super fed, I will either go straight into Tainted Guard. When we talk about Tainted Guard in a second, if the mid laner is super fed, then I'll go into Unbroken Will. Now let's look at Unbroken Will. This is a 2950 frontline tank item, 350 health, 150 base health regen. Again, I'm looking at base health regen, 30 magic armor, 15 tenacity, Undying. When you are immobilized, take 20% reduced damage. So if you just get stunned, you dive into a fight, you're a tank, you get stunned, you just take 20% less damage. That's great. Persistence. If you are immobilized or displaced, restore 6% of your maximum health over 4 seconds. You see what I'm seeing, right? We're playing off that. Let's get a lot of health. Let's get a lot of regen. So we have a lot of health with some damage when we're in their front line on Fire Blossom. We have a lot of health and a lot of regen based on the Regenerator passive, and just with the base health regen that it provides. We have Unbroken Will that has base health regen, and it has Persistence. If you're immobilized or displaced, restore 6% of your maximum health over 4 seconds. And then the other item I was talking about, which doesn't even have health regen on it, is Tainted Guard. Tainted Guard, this is just a really great tank option because of the tainted buffs that happened not that long ago. 350 health, 40 physical armor, 10 ability haste. Blighted Thorns, when hit by a basic attack, reduce the source's healing by 40%, apply a bleed to them for 3%, which deals magic damage based on your physical armor. So this is great. You're already gonna have 5 Fire Blossom. You can build into Tainted Guard, or you can do what I like to do, which is to look at max health and max health regen, and look at these options here. So you have Stonewall. Stonewall is a pretty good option. I'm still messing around with it. It's something I like to buy a lot later in the game, but similar thing, right? 150 health, 150 base health regen, 70 physical armor. Taking damage that would reduce you below 40% maximum health unleashes a shockwave, sending all nearby enemies for 1 second on a 90-second cooldown. And then bulk work, take 10% decreased damage from physical abilities, increasing with additional physical armor. So this is, if you need more armor. So I think Tainted Guard is really, really prio. I try to get it 3rd or 4th, depending on if I need the Unbroken Will. And then honestly, and this is something that I'm really, really excited to talk about, because I think that this is one of the most overpowered items in the entire game, is Salvation. I love this item, dude. I love this item so much. 35 physical power. Keep in mind, his boulder scales with physical power and his I can't remember what it's called, scales with physical power. 35 physical power, 500 health, 30 tenacity, and it has Aegis. Falling below 40% maximum health grants you a large shield based on your maximum health and 10% omnivamp for 6 seconds. So you don't really need the 10% omnivamp, but 40% maximum health. Dude, we're huge. So this gives us a little bit extra damage. It gives you a lot more health and gives you tenacity and gives you a nice shield. So this is something like what a full build Rampage build would look like, honestly. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So let's go ahead and get out on the field, and we're going to talk about what playing this character is like. All right, let's get some levels. Now, all right, we're level 6. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, you want to max up that Q. If you're maxing up your Q, you can increase the stun duration up to 2 seconds, and this character is all about getting in the fight and stunning and doing some CC. So it's really simple. This character has a pretty basic kit. You pull your rock, you throw it, you stun. You need to get in, you jump, you get in. You need to do some damage when you're on them, doing Fire Blossom damage, you smack the ground. This character has an incredibly simple basic kit, but there is a little bit of nuance to it, and I definitely want to talk about that. So let's wait for our cooldowns to come up. If you're pouncing and you're going too far, smack, you'll come down. You know what I mean? It's not something I use too often because a lot of the time you don't really need to do that, but it's mostly important, and I realized this. I didn't realize how important it was, except for whenever you have Behemoth, because you would go 65% further. So if you're used to this normal jump range and you have Behemoth on, then you may overjump your target. So know that you can bring yourself down by smacking the air, and it will kind of slam you down. Very, very important. The only other thing that I can really say when it comes to pounce on Rampage is position well with it. If you're chasing someone and they're running away, say they're running towards this tower. Let's pretend this wall in front of me is the tower. Don't just jump at them, jump ahead of them and body block. Body blocking is key when you're playing these big characters. It's key all the time, but make sure you're body blocking. Don't let them get to this, you know, quote unquote wall or tower or cover or whatever. You know what I mean? Make sure that if they're running away from you, you jump and then you start hitting them and body blocking them. And as they're running at an angle, you know, they're running this way, you just keep blocking, keep blocking. You know, they're running this way, you keep blocking. So very, very important. Now, if you're at the jungle wall and say they're coming out towards you, or if you're sitting around a corner or something, you know, you can peek, you can throw your rock, you can jump on them. You know, it's, like I said, very, very simple. And then as far as like your E goes, you just smack the ground. It slows them, it's going to do damage, and that's really all you have to think about. So we can talk a little bit about Behemoth, because one thing I do want you to know is that if you are going into a fight, you don't really want to use your boulder, because you want to be able to use your boulder for an instant stun. So as a fight is about to pop off, like you literally pop your ult and just instant boulder throw, and then you just start doing what you do. And again, if you're chasing someone, if you need to get there, you know, you can smack the ground, come down sooner. But this kit is really simple. It's really, really simple. The only nuance you really need to know is that you have an instant boulder throw with Behemoth, and that you can bring yourself down by smacking the air while you are in your pounce. It's really that simple. Now, I don't quite have my crest. I wish I could just instant upgrade my crest. I don't think that's an option. No, I don't think it's an option to instant upgrade my crest. But what I can say is that with the near war boots, and we can look at it again, with the near war boots, because this is the boots that are the crest that I prefer. 175 health, 75 base health regen, 8 physical armor, 8 magic armor, and this is the activation. Gain 30% movement speed and store 45% of damage received for 5 seconds. After the duration, regenerate health equal to the damage stored over 3 seconds. It's got a pretty long cooldown, 120-second cooldown, but this is what I like to do. When you pop Behemoth, you get a large influx of health, and that makes you really big, but it's a lot of the time, if you're being bursted, it's not going to fully save you. So what I like to do is I like to go into a fight and I turn on the near war boots. Like if it's a committed fight, I go in, I turn on my crest. When the crest is active, you're storing some of that damage, and as your health bar is going down, as your actual health bar is going down, then you pop ultimate. So it's like you kind of want to hold the ultimate just a little bit, because you don't want to hold your instant stun too long, because sometimes opening with an instant stun is really important too. But you want to hold it just a little bit. You pull out, you rip the Behemoth, you throw an instant boulder, and then your health regen spikes because you have now ultimate. You've popped your ultimate, you gained that passive, that 0.35% of your health regen from your max health. And at the same time, your near war boots is also healing you. So it's like you can get really low And if like you can be getting really low, and if you had popped your ultimate at the right time, and if the war boots spikes at the right time, then you're really just going to heal yourself a ton. So really get comfortable. And I would say in terms of behemoth, do not hold it too long. You have to use your behemoth like no lower than like 50% health, because this character can get bursted, and you really don't want to fall behind. Now, I touched on it very briefly, but I'll go ahead and end with this. The final thoughts. Your like ability priority is you should start with your E for jungle clear. You should grab your Q. Level 3, if you want to get gank heavy, you should grab your pounce, and then you just want to max Q and max your E. So max the boulder for longer stun duration, and then max your E for some additional damage. So really, friends, that's pretty much it. You know, just know some of the nuance. You can bring yourself down. You have an instant boulder throw. Don't forget to pop your crest pretty early in the fight so it can store some of that damage and then start healing you. And then don't hold your behemoth too long. You do want to get that health and that health regen. You don't want to get too low and then pop it and then die anyway. So yeah, friends, this is probably one of the only characters that I would say this is probably what a full build will look like. And if you really like don't want the salvation, which I think it's a phenomenal item, you could drop this for another tank item. There's so many really good tank items, and I mean, seriously, we could just take a look at some of those. Let's see. You have Void Helm, an amazing tank item for magic armor. Crystalline Cuirass, an amazing tank item for magic armor. You have physical armor. You have Warden's Faith is really good. Citadel is another kind of like tanky bruisery option. Frostguard is a really good tank option. Dynamo is an amazing option. Like there's so many tank items in this game that are really, really good, but these are the ones that I've been kind of feeling. So friends, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you have any questions, if you feel like I missed anything with Rampage specifically, yeah, let me know. And then I'll of course keep posting gameplays of me playing Rampage, and hopefully you can see some of the ways that I play this character applied in game. But drop a like on this video, subscribe for future Predecessor content, guides, competitive content, and more. As always, be sure to be kind to one another. Tell someone you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.